Hi, everybody, and welcome to 3R's weekly YouTube AMA, where we answer your questions, discuss recent updates, and speak to interesting guests all around the 3 ecosystem. Before we get started, let me give you an intro to 3R. 3R's mission is to bring blockchain and banking to the next billion and achieve widespread financial inclusion through crypto. To do this, we believe you need to solve a major obstacle first, which is connectivity. 3R uses a proprietary technology to bring high-speed broadband internet to underserved regions in Africa. Once connected, users purchase a connectivity NFT, which grants them the internet subscription. All right, thanks so much for being here. We have a very interesting discussion coming up today tied to our recent partnership announcement. And as a first guest, I'd like to bring on Sandi Bitenc, CEO of 3R.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi, Ruba. Yeah,
Hi.
I think I'm on the wrong place. Like this is better. Great job. Yeah. So first time. How does it feel? First time leading our AMA.
Very stressful. I have a lot of respect for Anita.
Yeah, Anita is somewhere on the plane. I don't know if she already landed in Rome, but she has some business to do there and just couldn't make it today. But she promised she'll be back next time.
Yes, she will be, and she is missed. I can tell you that.
Yeah, we also had some technical issues today, but now all seems good, except that you're on the phone, right?
Yes, that's why you guys will see me in a vertical position like that, but better than nothing, better than what it was like before. So I hope I don't get any lags or technical issues.
Well, for now it works, so cool.
Perfect. So how's everything at 3R, Sandi?
It was a bit a quiet week because there is the holidays, and in Slovenia on Monday was a holiday, and Tuesday was the 1st of November. So it's a in Europe it's kind of the Day of the Dead, or how they call it. So majority of the team actually took off everything, since Friday till next Monday. So we have let's say the really necessary developers there that just overlook everything, that everything runs still smoothly, but there's not a lot of going on this week.
Yes.
Yeah,
but I
still
do see that there's
so there was some development last week, right? I think you published the article, so
yes.
there's still a lot of stuff that's been done in the back end, and there's a big update coming soon. We have it already on our staging setting, and it's more or less past QA, so it's going to be on live pretty soon. Hopefully this week, if somebody gets back to work.
They have no choice, right? All Saints Day is only one day.
Yeah, it's no day for me, so. And for
That's
you also,
true.
you were also working all the time.
I was working, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that there is a lot of development work going on, also things that we haven't published yet, but I know for sure that the community will be really excited once all the updates go live. So yeah, good news on the horizon.
One thing that I think is pretty cool is that we went into a partnership with ApeSwap. So ApeSwap set up a farming pool for our LP tokens on ApeSwap. So you can go there, deposit liquidity. So the LP tokens are made out, half of our of the 3R token and half of the BNB token, and then you deposit this into their farm, and then you're getting bananas. How cool is that, right? It's the banana token. So, and then it's a pretty good pool actually. So the rewards are really, really high. And then in the rewards to that, you can actually get also some 3R additionally to that. And now they're setting up also treasury bills. And treasury bills allow 3R to buy back the liquidity. So once you set up a liquidity, it's actually yours. Right? And now what 3R will be doing with the help of ApeSwap is actually buying the liquidity. So you'll be setting up the liquidity, you're putting it in a farm, and then after the farm, you can actually sell the liquidity to us, and you'll get some 3R tokens at a discounted price that you're actually buying with the LP tokens.
Very cool. And I saw that we also had a lot of questions in the community about it already, and a lot of people joined already. So for those who are interested, you can find the link to the LP in the announcement and on our Twitter as well.
And we should probably put up also some, article explaining a bit how things work.
Yes, true. You have an article with the link to the LP as well, but we should also have an how-to maybe for people. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Cool.
All right. Yes.
We are already getting bananas in the comments.
People are going bananas or getting bananas. Okay, could be both. All right. We have a very special guest today following our recent announcement, so we should bring him on, I think. Let's everybody welcome Max Jones from Ikigai Ventures.
Hey everyone, happy to be here.
Hey Max.
Hi Max, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Max, can you give us a little intro to yourself? Who are you? What do you do? How did you get to where you are?
Oh, that's a lot to answer. Yeah, so I'm the head of business development for AIBC, which is one of the blockchain and emerging tech events that we've been hosting for about 4 years now. I'm also an investment associate in Ikigai Ventures. How did I get here? It's a pretty long story, or maybe I can cut the long story short. I used to be a bit of a stocks trader whilst I was in university. And then I was scrolling through TikTok one day, and TikTok came up. Anyone that buys SafeMoon today is going to be a millionaire in a year. So I aped in, a bit like ApeSwap. I bought some SafeMoon on day one, and it worked out pretty well. And then that gave me a bit of a crypto obsession and really put me down the rabbit hole. And then I was very fortunate to get the job at AIBC, and then that turned becoming a retail investor in crypto to becoming one of the B2B people behind the scenes.
Yeah, very cool. You are behind the scenes, but you are very connected, I have to say. So I feel like you're very modest, because really you have such a great network. You have so many connections, and also when you say something, then people really trust you. So you're actually very influential character, I would say, behind the scenes, but in a lot of the crypto networks.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing behind crypto, is building your own community, just getting involved and helping out where you can. I mean, you don't get to kind of build a network without doing the lost leader work per se, helping people do things better and connect with each other. Crypto is such a very young space at the moment. So being one of the players that's trying to help everybody connect with each other, which is quite a difficult thing in the crypto space, tends to work pretty well. So I'm very lucky that I get to connect people as a full-time job right through the events.
Yeah, very cool. So this week's announcement, the big announcement, dropped yesterday. Ikigai Ventures is a new 3-year partner, and we joined the Ikigai Ventures portfolio.
Yeah.
So yay. Can you tell us a bit more about what Ikigai Ventures does and why you decided to partner with 3R?
Yeah, so we're a small $20 million VC fund, and we do have a certain proportion for investing in crypto projects. The kind of investment mandate is that we'll only invest in projects we think we can support really well and add a lot of value to. And I've been working with Sandi outside of the event scope and outside of the Ikigai scope since probably February this year, right? And I've always loved Sandi and what he's doing with 3Air, so I think it was a natural next step to get more involved and essentially see if we can lend more of a hand. And when you think about what 3Air has built, the technology lends itself really well to loads of different projects. I mean, to partner with people like ApeSwap works really well. To partner with blockchain games works really well, potentially. I imagine that's further down the line, though. And especially with essentially connecting the unconnected is a huge social impact.
Awesome. So how do you choose the projects that you support?
Yeah, it's whatever we can lend the most value to. We do have a very solid network of projects, VCs, exchanges, and things like that. So we do commonly over and over and again get the same sort of questions. How can I get more users? Who should I partner with? Stuff like that. So a lot of it is figuring out what value we can add before we can make an investment. We don't want to be the dumb money that just puts money in. We want to be the money that comes with some additional value. And that's what we do. So we've actually been very selective with the crypto investments we've made. I think 3Air is up there with probably if not one of the strongest investments, or definitely one in the portfolio company. But then the others are all infrastructure based as well.
Oh, very interesting. And what does your team and network consist of? So you're not purely blockchain and crypto related, you're also in other industries, right?
Yeah, so there's two main kind of companies that we represent. We represent both the Sigma Group, which is iGaming, payments, KYC, and then that owns 3 other event brands called AGS, which is all about affiliate marketing and ad tech and a little bit of digital marketing as well. AIBC, which is the Web3 blockchain and AI event. It dabbles on a little bit of robotics and emerging tech, but not so much anymore because Web3 is just taken over the space. And then the little baby company that's still growing, but growing very well is MedTech, which is all about medical technology, very out of my scope of work. And then Ikigai Ventures is the investment group. And I think for Ikigai, it's a very lean team, 5 or 6 people and some advisors. But on the event side of things, I think pushing over 120 people across 3 main offices. So I think Sandi was mentioning developers in Serbia. We've got a very similar office set up in Serbia for the developer.
Yeah, and I have to say, I actually, met Max at the AIBC Dubai. I think it was in April, something like that, this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was something like that, and it was by far the best organized event that I've been to, also up until now. So yeah, this is also why we are going now to Malta and following them also then to Africa and so on. And you are going global with the AIBC, right?
Yeah, I think it's both. Well, thanks for the nice feedback. It's nice to hear someone else say that we're a really good event company. I've been saying it for so long, but it's nice to hear someone else give the feedback.
No, it is true. It was a huge difference to whatever else we've been to, and also now as you mentioned, you're separating a bit the Sigma and the AIBC, right? So I think with that, even more focus on is going to be directly on blockchain, and it's probably just going to be even better.
100%. Yeah, it's quite difficult to kind of make a decision like that because there's a lot of the crypto space that's raring to embrace iGaming, and there's a lot of kind of crossovers like some KYC solutions that are getting built on the blockchain now and kind of AI-powered affiliate mechanisms and crypto payments for the iGaming operators. So there are some crossovers, but then there's also the side that isn't ready to work with them yet because there isn't that kind of crossover collaboration opportunity. And I think fortunately this year we're going to have a very solid event. The quality is very high level. And yeah, looking forward to having 3Air there and connecting them with everyone else at the show and trying to make it a really worth your while.
Yeah, we got a really good position, a really good booth there. So I hope that somebody from the audience will be there and visit us. A question for you. So how do you actually decide in the iGaming space who then goes to AIBC and who goes to Sigma?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of the iGaming guys don't care at all about AIBC. But the ones that do, sometimes they're on the fence. So they've got absolutely free access to come over and check it out. And 100%, that's what we want. We want people to sit in the audience that are big deals in the iGaming space and soak knowledge on the crypto side of things. So that's why we've had it. There is a one-day overlap. So the people that go to the big iGaming event can actually go to the crypto event as well. And I think it always opens up some interesting doors. There were some very interesting collaborations that came out of this event and the kind of crossover last year. And vice versa, the crypto guys can go and check out the iGaming. Imagine these two industries are slowly merging together, and we're trying to push them together, but they are still repelling a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, I think within a year or two or latest 3, I don't think you'll have any gaming anymore on Sigma side, except for casinos. Yeah. I think everyone is moving right now to crypto, and I recently read an article that said that blockchain is probably the best fit for gaming after DeFi.
It is. It's transparency as well. The fair payouts and stuff like that, it makes a lot of sense. And one of the big things we realized is that a fiat player is worth, surprisingly on average, less than a crypto player is. And I think this study was done last year though. So they were probably up hugely on their games and were more willing to play with the money right. But 100%, I see more and more projects jumping into the crypto space and using the kind of tokens as a fundraising mechanism, which is great to see.
Yeah, but it also should be only just a fundraising mechanism, right? And we are waiting for really, really cool proper games in the crypto space also, because up until now, I know there are a few really cool names developing right now. Some games that are crypto oriented, but they're focused to the real gamers. So I think that's when then we can have a bigger adoption actually, because right now more or less I think the games are being played by the crypto communities, and we want to take over the gaming community and bring into the crypto.
100%. We've worked in a lot of content into this about the Malta show, about how can we push the Web3 gaming community, or essentially tap into the Web2 gaming community and bring it to Web3. And it's all about changing the style of game, I think. And this is what we realized from people like Luvium, The Harvest, Gala Games. They're all tapping into the Web2 audience, trying to engage that community and keep them stuck to the Web3 style of things. A lot of the blockchain games that are coming out now, especially after we've gone into the bear market, they're switching the approach. They're not targeting the existing Web3 demographic. They're going mainstream. They're trying to launch on Epic Games. They're trying to go through the Play Store to tap into the next level of people and break down the barriers to entry. Unfortunately, it results in higher costs for them, 100%. Like with anyone to sell an NFT on the Apple Play Store has to agree to a 30% royalty, which is insane for Web3. But it is what it is. It's a bit of a trade-off until the barriers get broken down a little bit more.
I know that Apple just recently changed some things, and I don't know if they're charging now also 30% on the sales on NFTs, because it's going to be a bit hard to track that. If you ask me, it's going to be quite difficult, because it's not going to be you won't be just buying them inside the app. You'll also be able to buy them outside and just use them. Yeah. So and I know it was kind of, they didn't allow any apps or any games with NFTs until recently. I think it's a month or two back when they said it's allowed, but I don't know exactly how they are now, what the monetization policy is with them. But I know that they're charging like crazy fees for everything else.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's strange. I feel like the eyes from the retail perspective, the eyes have gone away from crypto now, but from business to business, the biggest corporations are now starting to embrace it. I mean, Apple's cozying up to, I believe Google did something as well, where they're now accepting crypto payments, I believe with only through PayPal or something, and PayPal's doing crypto payments. So the business to business side of things is super interesting at the moment, and it's definitely it's being implemented in the back end rather than being marketed to retail. So slowly by slowly, retail will start using blockchain technology without even knowing that they are, which I think is one route to mass adoption.
Yeah, and we're not mentioning PayPal on our show. They're really
No.
company there are, and they cannot take $2,500 from me because I don't have any dollars on them. Else I would probably be, you know that they pushed the narrative now in the general, how you say, you know, the thing that you need to agree with. So they can take $2,500 if you say something or write something that they don't agree with.
What?
Yeah,
That's very
that's
strange. I hadn't heard about that.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
was a big. They had a big backlash on that in the on Twitter and all the social media. It's really, and I actually got some money taken away from me from them. It's
Seriously.
like, yeah,
That's not
really,
Not
very
because of
Web3.
misinformation, not because of that
not
policy.
because of no. And then I started looking up, and there's a lot of these things happening with PayPal, and that's why we need crypto payments exactly because of that.
100%. I think it would be a shame if, even with this massive Web3 transition that's happening, all the big players in Web3 end up being the same players from Web2 because they just integrated the Web3 technology and they can just target their existing users. So I think there needs to be someone that needs to come into the crypto payments and display PayPal. I mean, there are some people trying, like, can I name blockchain company names or no PayPal?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. No problem. Yeah.
There are some people doing good attempts, like Bankir is a pretty solid one. Crypto Pay is really good for the payments, but again, isn't quite there with the user friendliness that PayPal has. Um,
What do you think about Square? What Square is doing, or Block? They're utilizing the Lightning network. So
really
uh, second layer on top of Bitcoin. That
interesting. Well,
looks
someone
cool.
had to use Lightning Network for something.
I think it has a future. To be honest, I do think it has a future. Let's see how this comes, because I know that Jack Mallers, he was really trying to get things as easy as possible. So you just use the Lightning to transfer through long distances, but then he actually wants to have it integrated with other, or with already existing payment solutions, so that you can actually get also cash and everything. So um, sounds really cool. I hope he
Interesting.
succeeds. That's really cool.
Yeah, there are a few people working on similar things, and that's the entire point of Tron, isn't it? To be the payments network.
Yeah.
It makes sense for it to be Light Network. I mean, I get that it's built on top of Ethereum, but sorry, Ethereum,
Lightning is
Bitcoin.
built on top of Bitcoin.
Yeah, my mistake. On Bitcoin, that's essentially adding extra utility to Bitcoin, which I think at some point 100% is going to be displaced as the top in market cap, but it's doing what it was designed to do. I
You
think it
think
will
so? You
continue
think
to.
you think Bitcoin will not be coming out as a leader?
Not in 10, 20 years. No,
You
no,
think
no.
so?
Because you can't build applications and get the same amount of users long term. Because you can build applications on things like Ethereum, there'll be more of a use case for Ethereum in the long term, and then you get more users to it. And especially with things like blockchain games coming into play, you're going to get entire mass stream on things like Ethereum or like Solana, for example. I don't think Solana will top Bitcoin, but I think Ethereum probably has a pretty good chance.
Yeah, I look that there are some of possibilities that are being explored to run smart contracts on top of Bitcoin. So just on some layer twos, but there'll probably only be one real store of value. So if Bitcoin managed to do that, it'll be hard to catch it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
let's see.
100%. Bitcoin's going to be the store of value. I just think that the other networks are going to be more usable. And then I think Bitcoin will, hit these milestones that everyone's talking about and continue to go up and up and up, like the digital gold that it's proclaimed to be 100%. But I think in terms of the application, I think having so much more usability, I think something will come out on top at some point. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think so.
I also do think so that, but where I have a bit of a struggle is seeing Bitcoin as money, as payment solution. who will actually spend Bitcoin? Who will want to spend Bitcoin? And it's going to be like, yeah, tomorrow is going to be worth more, so why should I spend it? You'll be
Yeah.
starting to think, I don't want to spend today. Maybe I can wait before I buy my new car for another half a year, right? Because then I maybe need to pay only half of the car or something like that. So
Yeah.
in a sense, our economic system is built on a bit of inflation. So this drives us to spending a bit more, and this also then drives the economic growth. And with Bitcoin, let's see how this works, but it might slow down a bit, to be honest.
I think in the long term, 100%. But it's the bull market, bear market thing, right? In the bull market, you're like, everything's half as expensive as it was 6 months ago. And then in the bear market, everything that I spend now is going to be 4x in a year or two. So
Yeah, but we are once it really evolves, and once it would get the to the point that we could consider it like a global reserve currency or global money or something like that, I don't think we would be seeing the real fluctuation, the volatility anymore. So I think at that point, where it would probably stand is somewhere around the global GDP value, or somewhere around that. This is how
would
I
you
see it.
estimate
And
that to be?
probably what?
Guess the value of Bitcoin, the all-time high.
Yeah. You mean like right now?
No, what do you think Bitcoin's going to go to? Wild guess.
My guess, what's the time frame?
10 years.
In 10 years. Ooh. So I think it's going to be either at 0 or it's going to be at around 2.5 to 3 million.
Really? Wow. I was
In
going to go a
10
lot more
years.
conservative.
In 10 years.
years.
Oh wow. Yeah. You're
I
a
think if
BTC
in 10
maxi.
years it's going to be around 2 to 3 million, somewhere like that. But it also might be difficult to actually denominate it in dollars anymore, because after 10 years, maybe there are no more dollars. Who knows?
It's true. I think dollars are just going to get inflated out of existence. And this is the big thing. Apparently, I've been doing a little bit of research about previous financial mechanisms. And apparently, any currency, as soon as they go off the gold standard, eventually there's like a timeline of where they just die out because of hyperinflation at some point.
I
Yeah.
always like to, I like it when I listen to older podcasts or videos and you hear the price of the asset at that point. So just for that, right now it's at $20,384. So it's interesting to hear the price predictions.
Yeah. I strongly believe, and I think that if we really get huge inflation, then the price will even be higher. And just to say, we would need to kind of talk about what the purchasing power in a sense would be. So we would then need to discount it by the inflation rate in the 10 years to actually be able to see the real value.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's incredibly hard to estimate. I mean, supposedly Elon Musk wants to have people on Mars by 2030. So are we going to see people on Mars or $1 million Bitcoin first?
I would say $1 million Bitcoin first. I don't think
Yeah.
$1 million is actually so far away.
Really? I mean, for me, I think that's 2 market cycles probably.
Yeah, but 2 market cycles is 8 years, so that's 2030.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. I mean, I think the sky is the limit for Web3 and crypto and Bitcoin and the prices of all of these things. I mean, I think as soon as you stop caring about the prices and you focus on the technology, and once you get to the right environment where you can do fun things in the crypto space, then you forget about the price of everything and the sentiment of the market, and you just focus on building, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So getting back to the payment solutions, I just have another question, because if you say, okay, PayPal is so centralized and they can fine you and things like that, which is true, but and the solution is Web3, but we just recently saw that that's not the case, right? Because a lot of people were blocked because they used Tornado Cash, and so those transactions were just completely blocked. So in a sense, Web3, the way it was done there is also not the solution to centralization, right?
So yeah, maybe if I put my thoughts into this, yeah, we'll probably need some regulations. I just hope that there'll be something normal. What I really don't want is CBDCs where they can seize your funds or even make you spend it, or they'll know what you spend it on and they'll judge you for it and so on. So that's for sure not the future that we want to go towards. Then still Ethereum is still better, and it for sure it wasn't good, and I was surprised that everyone is actually turning right now towards this, that it gets censored. Also Vitalik was strongly against it, and now he supports it, and it's actually done through a third-party software that the validators are actually integrating. So not everyone has integrated it. So if you manage to find a validator that's not integrated it, you can still do the transactions. But there'll be a lot of problems if with such things, right? So we already seen that something like dusting is being very popular right now. So if you don't know what dusting actually means, is just sending small transactions of tokens that went through Tornado Cash to some really prominent people, some Hollywood stars and so on, and getting their accounts blocked. Also sending it to Vitalik, and so getting Vitalik blocked and so on. So this is what's happening right now, and it's just fight against the centralization and censorship. But on the other side, we are also seeing quite a lot of hacks, right? And how do we want to tackle this? And that's for sure something that should not be happening on chain, right? We can talk about if there is really room for like 100% freedom of speech. And if I would need to say yes or no, like really a clear answer, I would say yes. But on the other side, nothing is really black or white. So I do think that at least until the whole sector of blockchain actually matures enough, and this is on the side of developers and on the side of the users, I think there'll be a lot of malicious actors there that will take advantage of it. And for those things, maybe we should have a plan to in a sense censor things, but I don't think there should be one central authority doing this. I think there should be a consensus. There should be people that are actually holding the tokens or something like that. They should be the ones voting what's actually happening. So I do think we can have in a sense a DAO, and the community then decides who can get blocked and who not. And I know if then the majority of the community is for it, I think yeah, then if you don't like it, then you're not in the right community in a sense. So this is how I see it, and that could potentially be a solution for it, my opinion.
100%. I think they say over and over again, the future is DAO, right? And I think that's pretty accurate. You can't trust the final say of these things to a centralized system. It doesn't make sense for exactly these reasons, like you're mentioning about dusting. That's they've set a definite rule and they've stuck to that, but they need some little bit of leeway and essentially the ability to put the decisions back in the community's hand, right?
Also, there was I don't know where I heard it, but I just overheard something, don't remember now, and it was like, yeah, all the hacks that are happening, and there was like, we should not blame the hackers, we should blame the developers. The developers should take the blame for it. if they designed bad code, it's actually their fault why they got hacked. And I also think a part of the blame should also be on the users, because the users are the one who should be a bit more educated, not just put money where they expect, like going to the moon, and just not checking anything else, right? You should go to projects that did some audits, that they have really good developers, that maybe have a bit of a proven record, or that are more safe, and not just putting your money wherever think you'll make it the next 1000x without thinking anything else. But the thing is that the users actually are taking a part of they're actually taking the most of the hit, because it's their funds. So at least their decision is backed by their funds. Usually the developers, okay, let's say they put their work in, right? But I've seen projects that have gone through audits, and the audits came back exposing, look, this is a loophole here, you have a exploit option, and they still deploy, and they have like after half a year they still didn't do anything about it, and then they get hacked, and then so oh my god, what happened right now to me, right? And now let's blame all the hackers. So I think the whole space need to really mature. And I was asked about this just yesterday, and for an article, and I think I have to say that blockchain by itself is secure enough. I would say it's probably the most secure code that we actually have, the most secure platform that you can work on right now. It's by far more secure than any centralized server, or from a bank or anything like that. So it's not because of blockchain technology that this is happening. It's because of the developers that building on top of blockchain. Yes, it needs to be said, the blockchains that are decentralized enough and have proven they're with time that they are secure enough, like Bitcoin, like Ethereum for sure, and there are a few other ones that are for sure really, really secure. And usually what happens is either a really new chain gets hacked that still didn't manage to achieve enough decentralization, or the projects that are building on top of it. And then also you have then again, sometimes the code is secure, and this has happened just today to Rubik. So their main account got compromised, but because they stole their private keys. So it's not that they hacked them or anything like that. It's just they didn't store the private keys properly, and that was one person. So there are different levels of hacks or exploits, and we can for sure not blame this on the blockchain technology.
100%. I think there's three things that need to kind of, there's three main pillars that are held responsible for these kind of things, and it's the three you mentioned. I mean, the developers need to get more serious. Unfortunately, we had a massive wave of NFT culture where anyone could make a huge amount of money by just copy pasting NFT smart contracts, and they made money off that, and they decided to develop something else, but in the same kind of bootstraps fashion, maybe ill-advised and not that kind of code literate to produce the really good code. And then the second one is the security auditors. I won't name names, but some of them are 100% secure. If they've done an audit and they've improved the code of the person, then there's never been a breach. But there's some where they haven't spotted the kind of vulnerabilities, and then there has been hacks. I have heard a couple of stories. I don't think necessarily what we want to do is always cut down barriers to entry for the retail guys. So to say to retail that they need to check out the code for a project is ludicrous, because they won't do that. It's always a little bit of aping in and spreading a little bit of tokens here and some there and some there. But it's definitely about, I think it's all on the developer and the business side of things. It's true, we're very, very early in blockchain, and there are so many, what's the right word? Not necessarily dodgy, but ill-prepared startups pushing public, because it was they were running out of runway or things like that, and just have to get onto the market.
Yeah. So, sorry.
I would also say that The retail is not checking it yet. I think the major shift is coming. Blockchain is the revolution, and I think we'll just need to adapt to the new stuff. And this is gonna be, just required to know a bit of stuff. And because there is so much financial incentive behind it, I think it can happen. And well, probably it's going to be somewhere in between, right? But for sure, what needs to happen is that the end user need to become more, literal in just read, maybe not reading the code, right? But being able to distinguish good from bad projects in a sense. I don't think there'll be, will be the world will consist only of coders and they'll know how to read code. But they can be able to actually read a report from an auditor, or at least say, okay, here is this code has done an audit, and then they see, and if you open up an audit right now, on the first page you usually have like, this is, stuff are okay or not okay, and then you have like moderate threat or like really high threat or something like that. And then you have, the description below, and that one you even don't need to, if you see some critical errors in it, you probably don't want to engage with the project. And this
100%.
everyone.
Yeah, and this is coming from a person. Well, both of us have spoken to so many bad projects that haven't structured things properly. And when you've seen the mistakes they make, it's like, oh my god, how did they not fix that? But it's hard for the retail to spot these mistakes that separate a really good project from a bad project. It used to be, if a website was really simple and there was no explanation of what they're doing, that's just a meme coin. But it shifted. You now get like really good websites that are backed by nothing. There still are meme coins exploding with unlocked liquidity pools, and at any point they can just do a rug pull. But on any market tracker, like, I don't know, DEX tools, it always comes up with that notification, but it doesn't do that on things like PancakeSwap. But that's something PancakeSwap should integrate. A little disclaimer that, oh, by the way, the liquidity for this pool isn't locked, so it can be withdrawn at any point. Little things can be tweaked to essentially stop the scams. Well, not stop, but decrease them a little bit. But it takes time, and we're such an early into the space. I mean, I'll say this over and over again, but it's true. The regulation is not even close to where the blockchain is at the moment, where what blockchain technology has gotten to. And who knows when it will catch up.
Yeah, really interesting to hear your take on the market and the industry and the space, how it is right now. That ties in really well to our market update with Sandi. So, Sandi, do you want to give us the market update?
So today I would just say, wait another hour for the FOMC meeting. And we are getting today the new rate hikes. So 75 basis points is expected. I think 68% or something like that expect a 75% rate hike, and then the rest is expecting 50%. So 50 basis points, like 0% rate hikes. But it's gonna come down to what JP actually says afterwards in the conference. So quite a lot of big guys. BlackRock is the major one there, is expecting a bit more dovish sentiment and a dovish speech. So a 75% basis points rate hike, and some pivot talk. So probably next rate hike in December should be 50. Let's say if we get a bit, the idea towards that, I think the markets are prepared to rally, and we've seen this previous week, when everything just all of a sudden just started going up, and a lot of we've seen a lot of the altcoins going up 20, 30, 40% even in a day or two. So there is a lot of money parked on the sidelines, and the investors are getting really eager to deploy it, just because else the high inflation is eating away their share. So yeah, let's see. If JP isn't like there's going to be more pain, then I think we are set for a nice rally. And uh, just historically, November and December, the most gains, by far the most gains are done in November and December. So if history repeats, it might be by far the best part of our current year, because yeah, we can say it was really really bad. But what happens then next year is going to be really, really tough because of the recession that's uh, coming, or it's ongoing, or whatever you want to have it. I would say it's ongoing already, and yeah, next year could be really difficult still for the markets.
I think we've lost Ruba. But
I think
100%, I think we're expecting a big downturn at some point. I think everybody's estimating that kind of 15 to 12K for Bitcoin, right? But who knows?
I don't think we'll see another low this year, unless really Jerome Powell would come and would say, yeah, now we are raising the interest rates for a full percentage, and then in December again, and as his words were, there will be pain in the markets. That was end of August, and everything just started crashing down together. So hopefully we don't see that, and within a week we have also the midterm elections. So let's see if he at least gives the some push for the elections. And also historically, looking at the elections, after all the elections, there was a period of the markets going up. So usually the time just after the elections is also quite bullish. So me personally, I am bullish on the crypto space right now. Um, but we also seen today, right? We've seen today a small dump. People are just preparing to what could potentially happen. But so within an hour, we'll know. We'll, the meeting starts. So within 2 hours, we'll see. I think we still will see a bit of a dump going down, but then afterwards it might come back up for a day, but the markets overshoot in each direction. So uh, my expectation is a bit of a correction downwards just right now, if it's not already happening, and then after the Fed meeting, so within 2 hours or 3 hours, a nice rally upwards. So, and if the speech is good, um, and then I think it'll be sustained. If not, it's gonna probably hover at around the same level as we are right now, in my opinion.
Cool. I'm glad there's a little bit of optimism in the market. It feels like for so long now it's just been better, better, better.
Yeah, I don't see the markets doing another low this year, but potentially next year.
I think we're on the same page there. I think next year there's definitely going to be a bottom in the market. But that's what we're looking for, and then we start on this low climb back up, right?
Yeah, yeah. It could be also a fast one. I would love to see the V-shaped recovery. Now a bit down and then just straight up. That would be good.
I think 100% it's going to be a flash crash. Everyone's got their buy orders scheduled, and as soon as you reach that next bottom, I think that's over.
It's also so right now the level of Bitcoin on exchanges is as low as it wasn't since 2017 bear market. So it's incredible how low it went, and that's with all the years in between that were, Bitcoin is also a bit inflationary, so all the new minted coins, and it's actually lower than 2018. It's at the 2017 levels, and what this means is actually that we are expecting more volatility. So, and it can be on both sides. So it doesn't. So the lower the liquidity, the less money it actually takes to move the market and the price in either direction. So if somebody starts selling right now, it's going to be go down faster, and somebody who starts buying right now, it's going to go up faster. But it's usually a good sign when the liquidity of Bitcoin goes off of exchanges. It means that people are not looking to sell anymore. So it looks like that right now the majority of the sellers have left, and now only the really the strongholders are left here in the space. And we've also seen that the cohorts, they moved really from 1 to 3 months. There's almost nobody, no new token holders, and the long-term holders are really gaining in the percentages. So for me, things look bullish. Absolutely, it doesn't mean that the price will just go up right now, but things do look bullish.
That's what you want to hear. I mean, even for me, I haven't got enough money to be a massive Bitcoin or Ethereum investor, but I like to pick up the small cap coins that I think have got potential. Like 3A. I did pick up some 3A.
Yeah, great. Thanks. I don't think that right now is going to be the time for the small caps. I think Bitcoin needs to rally, go up first, and then I think the alts might actually bleed against Bitcoin once we get some bullish sentiment in the market. I think people will start taking the money from alts and putting it into Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin then rallies, they'll start taking profits off of Bitcoin, and then they'll start putting them in the alts. So. But for sure, some alts will also go up really well in the meantime. But in general, I think the first will be Bitcoin. Then after Bitcoin kind of gets its rally over, things are gonna start pouring into alts. And I'm also not sure if this is right now. And things are so centralized, and the macro perspective is so bad currently. It can also happen that within a week or two we have the war between China and Taiwan, and then everything comes crashing down. So, or just Putin just wakes up with I don't know, some pain in somewhere, and just I don't know, maybe he trembles and pushes the wrong button, and then the wrong missile goes to the wrong place or something like that. It can happen.
Yeah, it can. There are these kind of macroeconomic things that are on the very tipping point of potentially coming to fruition, and some of them are good, some of them are really bad, and potentially scary times ahead. But I think we've always got to be a little bit positive about these things, right?
Yes. Yeah, I do think so, yeah.
Awesome. So there is some positivity, even though we still need to wait on the updates. Can you hear me well, or am I lagging?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, perfect. So we're almost at an hour. Max, thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us if you have any upcoming events and where people can find you?
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, we've got the big Malta show in about 2 weeks, where Sandi's coming down to Malta, which is super exciting. In January, we've got the Africa event, Dubai in March, and then we continue on to Manila, Brazil, Malta and Cyprus as well next year. So it's a real road tour. Exciting but scary times ahead. My LinkedIn is probably somewhere, but you can always Google AIBC.world, and that's our event company.
Yeah, the link is down below, so there you can find Max. And Max, what I really want the audience to hear is, how does one become Max? It's just, I was really blown away when I saw you, and when I heard how old are you. I think you can be such a huge inspiration for the younger generation, and just show how fast you can become established in this field, because it's also so young. Just tell us a bit more. Just tell it to the community.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, Sandi. I think it's all about not necessarily productivity, but proactiveness. You've just got to get involved. I joined the company at the same time as 5 other people, and there was a divide between the people that wanted to kind of cruise through, and I was always just getting stuck in, going over the expectations and things like that. So many sleepless nights. I have slept at the office once or twice. I'm not afraid to admit that. But yeah, just getting stuck in and kind of going over your boundaries. I mean, there have been especially when I was prepping for the Dubai event when we first spoke. I think for about 2 months straight, I was doing 14 scheduled meetings a day on average. So there was, I think the heaviest day I ever did was 22 meetings in a day, like 11 hours on calls. But then you start to build up and piece together this network. Does leave you very split focused, but just getting stuck in and seeing, putting the pieces together and figure out who needs who. The best thing that you can do is to build your own knowledge is to get in front of founders, pick their brains and try and see how you can help them and how they can help you, and it all comes together at some point.
So no real secret, but just hard work, you would say.
Just hard work, yeah. I mean, I was very fortunate to get the job at AIBC. I mean, we're always looking for newbies for the team as well, if anyone's interested in joining. But yeah, it's all about just getting stuck in, and you'll figure out that no matter who you talk to, you've got something that's valuable to them. And if you just give it to them, then everybody wins. You know, you get a little bit of sway with them, and then they'll connect you to someone that you need. And it's all a big spider web. I mean, some of the biggest and most exclusive groups of high-level people in crypto are only like 1,600 people. And if you can slowly get to know all those people, then you've got a big spider web network of all these high-level people in crypto. And it's not that hard to get involved into these groups once you've got something that you can help people with.
Yeah, actually, it's amazing how big of a network you were able to build up in all this short time. Actually, I was really, I was like, you started when we started today's AMA. It was like, yeah, that's a long story, and I was like, no, it cannot be a long story because you're not that old. So, but I know that you're also doing advisory, right? You personally. So and if anyone is looking for a really good advisor that can connect you, Max has been invaluable to our 3-year project. So I can fully recommend talking to Max and taking him on as an advisor. So.
I appreciate it, Sandy. You know, I do my best for everyone, even if I'm not an advisor, I'd still lend a hand.
Yeah, I can attest to that. So you were actually doing the advisory job before I said, look, you need to become an advisor for us. So I was kind of pushing you towards it, but you were doing a full advisory job, like far better than some of our current advisors.
Don't say that. No, I think it's just about keeping ideas in the front of your mind, right? You know, for example, the ApeSwap, they told me about the treasury bonds, and I thought that times up perfectly with 3-year. Why don't we put 2 and 2 together?
Yeah.
And I hope that works well.
It looks like it will work well. I'll also report back to you, so if it works well. So it looks like it will. So it is one of the things that you connected us to. That's for sure. It's not the only one. There's also one other huge thing that we'll need to thank you for. That's coming up, let's say in a month or something like that. But
is it going to come through? I'd be very excited to see that one. But I thought about it a couple of times on the AMA, but I didn't think I could mention it yet.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't because then it doesn't happen. So,
very good that you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, then I would say we wrap this up.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
it's been an absolute pleasure, guys.
Cool. Thanks so much for being here with us, Max. We really had a lot of fun, and it was super interesting to hear all of your insights. So thank you, everyone, for being here with us live. If you are listening to the recording, we're glad you stayed with us. And if you like this content, like and share it to everyone who's here. If you're not subscribed yet, like our video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on 3Year. Also go and follow Max on LinkedIn and check out the AIBC channels, because they're going to be posting from all the events. So you'll see really cool content there too. And
there's the podcast of Sandi up on the AIBC YouTube, and some reels on the Instagram as well. More Sandi content.
More Sandi content. If you want to hear more of Sandi, go to AIBC to hear more of Sandi. Also really important, if you haven't yet, go to CoinMarketCap and add 3R to your watch list. Here's the link down below, so you can see that. And we'll see you on our next AMA. So thanks everyone for being here. Till next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.